when I started at the Blackhawks, which was in the middle of the pandemic, 2 weeks before season started in Chicago, where we couldn't have fans. That was a crazy beginning, but I kind of realized throughout my career that there's never a perfect time to start anything. It's how you adapt to the transition, right? And how you sort of rise to the challenge and what you learn. That's important.
I grew up in the suburbs and in Chicago and, born in the 80s and raised in the 90s. So I tell people I grew up in the Church of Michael Jordan and, telling people I'm going to play for the Chicago Bulls. And I stopped playing basketball when I was 15 years old. So I came to a Bulls game over winter break and I was like, oh, this used to be a thing I really wanted to do. Maybe I can intern for them. So I called them and I said, can I intern for you this summer? FYI, that's not really the right way to get an internship, but my first gig out of college was their ticketing internship. So I do like to say that my first paycheck after college was from the Bulls.
I think I was born with skates on. My family was completely immersed in hockey. And I started playing hockey and it just led into this crazy playing career and then into a professional career. I was lucky enough to get into coaching, which led into eventually the Blackhawks. So I've just kind of been immersed in hockey and sports my entire life.
Well, I was a mathlete, not an athlete. And when I was in college, I had a good friend. She taught a sports economics class. And I fell in love with the class. And I think that's where I realized there's actually a lot of business behind sports. But I had a different path in. So you all had to sort of hustle to get into certainly a sports franchise. So what advice would you give to somebody who's coming out of school who wants to have a career in sports?
Something that I would like to say is to be where your feet are, because you can get so caught up in the next job that you want to get when really you're learning so much, you're making new friends. This is amazing. Be where your feet are, be happy, and just enjoy the journey.
Yeah, something that at least I wish people told me because I just didn't know much about the sports industry. Seeing all of your other friends graduate and jump right into their full-time job. And in the sports industry, it's just not the case most of the time. You get out of college and you have to do a full-time internship. So it's just being confident in the decision that you've made and it'll all pay off.
Right. We don't have linear paths in this industry. It's hard to remember that sometimes, is that just you do what you're doing for yourself and not for everyone else, and not to compare. Really easy to get lost in the comparisons.
Yeah, I always say to never underestimate a relationship that you may build back there. It eventually will lead you to some other path potentially down the road that you have no idea that's coming. And every opportunity or beginning I've had has kind of come through a connection that I made or somebody I met along the way, and I just enjoyed working with them. Have some fun along the way when you're working long hours.
And it's not that hard to be a nice person.
Right? It's not that hard. Your career can be so long, and to your point, it's not linear. But when you're so caught up in the moment and trying to get the next job or comparing, you forget that's just a finite amount of time across your whole career. So be present, take every advantage you can in what you're learning. Don't be so focused on what's going on in the future and forget what opportunities you have today to learn. You're one of the few women in hockey operations. Do you feel like you have to, anytime you get a new responsibility, work harder? Do you think you have to try to prove yourself more?
Yeah, it's ingrained in my mind. I have to work harder than everyone. I got to work when my opponents are sleeping. That's how I grew up playing hockey. I have to get the edge somehow. So yes, I do definitely. Still to this day, I feel like I have to work harder. That's not right. That's why I always say too, make sure you have this confidence, not a cockiness, but a confidence in your abilities and the experience that you bring to the table.
And I do like that aspect of coming in with a chip on your shoulder, because it does push you to work harder, and it's uncomfortable, but you have to do it. And for me, I love this because it's a challenge every single day. And when I was little, they actually thought I had autism, but they realized that it was auditory processing disorder. So I was in speech therapy. I remember my third grade teacher wanted to put me in special ed. I see stuff online with, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She got the job because she's pretty. She slept her way there. And it's like, I'm here, and sometimes I've always felt in my life like, you know, I'm not smart enough to do certain things, but every day I'm trying to reinvent myself. I'm studying film, seeing how I can ask a question to make it more specific. So if you're doing stuff when your competition is sleeping, it makes us be the best that we can be, and that inspires the next generation.
How do you block that stuff out? Like that's...
I mean, it was hard at first, but just realizing that people who are below you are going to try and drag you down to be with them. And it was just, you know, this is going to make me push myself harder. They don't know what they're saying. People who really know me and work with me, I think, see my value, and, you know, there's an investment here. They're letting me grow and do other things, and it's really exciting, and I want to help the next young woman realize that she can do that.
Yeah. Look what you're doing now compared to what they told you as a kid.
Yeah.
It's a very much I showed you.
Yeah, and
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool because my mom was the one who told them no when they wanted to put me in special ed, and when I think of what I'm doing now, there were times where I didn't really believe in myself that I could be here, but now I'm gonna cry. She just always knew, not believed, so.
I mean, it is pretty amazing though that you had people in your corner pushing you the whole way.
Haven't we all?
Right.
I even feel that way, right? Every day I want to make sure people know I belong here. It is funny that every day we feel like we have to send ourselves these messages like, you belong here, you have earned it. I don't think you come to the Blackhawks like, Jamie, do you belong here?
Right. No, I don't have time to question you belonging here. I got to worry about myself.
But I think we put that pressure on ourselves.
Right.
When I came out of college, I didn't see any females in hockey operations. So seeing is truly believing.
Well, yeah, and I think that helps too, especially since we're working with so many kids that don't even know what hockey is. They see someone that looks like them, or they see a woman there, and it sparks that for them where they're like, this could be me someday, and they just never had the chance to think about it.
I think I felt like, especially younger, when starting off, like not invited to meetings, not invited, and I was like, well, I have really good ideas, I swear. So now, years down the line, definitely feel more heard than I've ever been before. And I think making sure that maybe someone that doesn't have as much experience gets their voice heard too. And just because someone opened the door for us, we're not shutting it behind us.
There is a little bit of that with women, right? We feel like we have to compete, or sometimes we feel like there's just not enough room for all of us.
I think society's kind of created that though, right? And then I feel that too, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. And not enough women are supporting women along the journey. I feel like we have to be each other's biggest advocate.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years ago when I was on the street team, Shilpa, you were someone that I really looked up to, just seeing someone that was also from a minority background, and for me it was a really intimidating space to break into. You were so welcoming, even when I was a part-timer that you did not have to pay attention to, and knowing that women or men that are of diverse backgrounds entering the Blackhawks today see that there, and we can be a part of that to help them feel like they belong there. I think that's huge just for the next generation.
That's special. For the longest time, I was the only person of color in the front office. And I mean, I would make jokes about it. I was like, yeah, it's me and the backup goalie. Like, that's not really funny when you think about it, but we all have eyes. Like, it's not a sport that has a lot of women, has a lot of people of color, but we've gone through some trainings, we've had conversations. I mean, we're gonna tell everybody now that you and I were talking on the side during a lot of those things, because for then a long time, it was just you and I.
Yeah, talking about not seeing yourself represented. When I was applying for the job, I felt the need to make sure that they knew that I was a lesbian, because I was scared that was going to affect my role, and I thought it was going to be a detriment to my career. And I didn't want anybody to know, and if I had to not be my authentic self, that's the way it was going to be. Now I realize that representation matters as well, because I really was terrified.
Do you feel comfortable to speak out if someone says something?
I do, but then it comes back into the confidence piece. Again, not cockiness, but the confidence in, yes, I belong here.
To see the progress and the change has been amazing. I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say that we do have a long way to still go, but we are definitely moving in the right direction, and I feel blessed to be a part of it all.
There is one thing I think is important for us to talk about, which is we can do our job, but we need to have everybody in the Blackhawks pulling on the same rope. We are part of an office or a culture and organization that is still predominantly male. We need those allies, right? We need people around the table. I think for the most part, we're just lucky that all the pieces of our culture are willing to embrace and to your point, like just be human and be kind, right? And support one another, because we need everybody to do that, to have a really great culture.
In my previous role, when I was promoted to manager, there were 3 of us that were elevated at the same time. And it was me and 2 male counterparts that we'd been working together for years. Rocks of support. If they didn't see me as their equal, it would have been impossible for me to do my job.
Yeah, my department for a while was just females, so I don't think it was until this year actually that we added some male counterparts into our department. That dynamic has only just elevated it.
Which to say from the hockey ops perspective, you couldn't find a more genuine human than Kyle Davidson. So just the amount of respect level between the both of us, never once have I felt not welcome or out of place.
It's funny, you mentioned your relationship with Kyle. Danny and I started working together about 1.5 years ago, and we're very different, and we have a high level of respect for what we each bring to the table. And I think that just being modeled at the very top is so important, because I think people see that. You can have women that are in leadership positions, you can have men that are in leadership positions. There can be mutual respect, right, extended. I think it's really important, right, because it sets the tone for the rest of the organization.
It's interesting because the reset button was hit in so many ways for us. You know, we're coming out of the pandemic, we're coming out of restructuring, new leadership on both sides, hockey and business operations, a team that's rebuilding on the ice. I mean, it's a new start for all of us in some form.
I think all of the Blackhawks, we are all rebuilding, right? Whether we're rebuilding on the ice, we're rebuilding off the ice, and it's awesome. It gives us an opportunity to bring in talent into the organization. It gives us the opportunity to empower great talent that already existed in the organization. I do feel like everybody at the Blackhawks today understands what we're trying to do, and that we're all different, but at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same thing. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of this today. I think everything you said today was super valuable. So let's end with a toast to the rebuild on and off the ice. Everybody here has value. Everybody is going to contribute. You don't do anything without great people working beside you. So excited to head into the next journey. Let's do this together. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.